I was able to close a $9,700 consulting client through a 4,000 view carousel on Instagram, one carousel. And I know what you're thinking, oh, Trevor, that doesn't make any sense. You probably need millions of views. You need millions of followers. You need all of this vanity metric stuff for someone to buy, right? And those are limiting beliefs that you have. You have to eliminate those, because those are basically just a result of the experiences and the information that people are telling you to believe. And so therefore you're believing those to be true, and that's how you conduct your life and your business. Is you're carrying these baggage, this added baggage of beliefs that aren't necessarily true, right? And you might even think that $9,700 for one client is insane, but in reality, we have companies like Bain and McKinsey who literally have actually been accused of using AI to do a lot of their analysis, and they're charging $500K for an engagement, right? And so there are so many different limiting beliefs that are going to cause you to question what I'm saying, right? And you need to uncover those and eliminate those, because those are going to hold you back and hold you down more than you even know, okay? And so now let's get into how I actually was able to do this, because it was this. I'll throw it up here. It was this post. You can go to my Instagram. You can find it. And basically, it was nobody told me that these skills were worth $500,000. Why did that work? That was a really good hook. It didn't go viral. I didn't need it to, because that's not the metrics, and that's not the data that I care about, right? It's like I'm not optimizing for virality. I'm optimizing for the money in my bank account, right? I'm optimizing for a different metric than other creators are otherwise optimizing for. And so I have a different ruler. I have a different measuring stick than everybody else. And so it's like when you optimize, like a lot of people are measuring the ruler with like a broken ruler with itself. And it doesn't make any sense. So what you need to do is you need to figure out what you're actually optimizing for, and then reverse engineer how to actually engineer buyer movement so that that optimization becomes true and into effect, because you just reverse engineer the steps and the actions that are required for that optimization or the data that you want to increase, okay? And so let's get into how it works. So the first hook it's the hook, right? It's the attract piece of the carousel. And so the core purpose of the first slide is to open up the door to a lot of people within a defined umbrella, within a defined scope. And so that could mean that, given the hook, nobody told me that these skills were worth $500K. That's attracting someone who maybe is at $10K per month, maybe is at $5K per month, maybe is at $15K per month, and wants to know what skills are actually worth a doctor's salary. And so through that, I go through the body of the carousel, I orient them to the skills, right? And so it's like a skill is personal branding, a skill is sales, a skill is marketing, like a skill is content creation, whatever the skills are. I forget what I put. I forget what I put in there. But you're basically showing them the skills that are directly applicable to your offer, right? And so those skills were directly applicable to my offer because that's what I help with. That's what my skills are. I have those skills that I can help someone advance the ranks in the skill set, right? So they could be a 3 or 4 skill set. I could be a 7, and I'm just helping them get to 5 or 6 or 7, right? You don't have to be this absolute expert, which is contrary to what a lot of people believe, and it could be a limiting belief of yourself that you think that you need to be this defined expert and professional in what you do and what you teach. You can be a 5 or a 6 out of 10 in skill level and help 1 and 2s get started and get to level 3 or 4 and still make money with it. You don't have to be this highly skilled person. And so through that, I orient them to the skills that I have that are directly applicable to my offer, and then I have a CTA lead magnet that goes to a YouTube video. And so what this individual did is they went through the carousel, they asked for the lead magnet, they watched my YouTube video in its entirety. It was like 17 or 18 minutes or something. And then they watched another YouTube video. And then they watched another YouTube video. And so do you see what I did here? Is that I attracted someone who didn't know me. I oriented them to the skills that I had and I could help them gain. And then I had a video that bridges the gap between that curiosity and then they ultimately build trust within that video. And then they got so curious, they watched another one. And then after that one, they got so curious and watched another one. And so I'm effectively accelerating the trust in my time. It's like time under tension, right? It's like you want a muscle to grow, you need time under tension. And so it's sort of the same concept. I need time under their attention in a way. So it's like that's what you're optimizing for. That's what I'm optimizing for, because their trust meter, it's like this ever-growing meter of trust. As you get more attention, you're going to gain a little bit of their trust. The more attention they get, they gain a little bit more trust. And it's this growing meter as you get in front of them. And so that was that. And then what did I do? Because I sparked a conversation. I asked what they thought of the video. And they're like, yo, it was great. I actually watched this other one. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I had the conversation. I had the DM appointment setting framework that we like to use. And then I set the appointment. I had the sales call. And we actually did a two call close. I'm not saying this is like someone goes from cold to watch this video and then you can just close them in like 30 minutes. That's not necessarily how I work sometimes. And sometimes people need a discovery call that you actually connect with them and like basically become friends with them in a way, but again, keeping that authority level and that distance between where they are and where you are. That way you can show your expertise. And yeah, I mean, I had a 2-call close. And so basically, that's sort of the framework, right? It's like I didn't close them on the first sales call. We actually got to know each other. I got to know their business. I got to ask really important questions that I find valuable, right? And so I want you to like think about that journey there, because like a lot of people, you know, it gets a little bit more in depth, I would say, because a lot of people think that just sending like a PDF file is a lead magnet, and then it's like, oh, the PDF file sparks the conversation, the DMs, and that's it. It's like, okay, like you want to actually have some sort of resources where you can basically build trust while also handling objections within a video, right? That isn't a VSL hyper edited that's gonna like scream sales at them, okay? Contrary to what a lot of people believe to be the most optimal way as a funnel mechanism. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I think the core thing too is like you could be sitting there across from me right now thinking that whatever I'm saying, you know, closing a $9,700 client is impossible. Or it's like, that's such a big client. When in reality, I want you to think about the value of your skill set and the value of the transformation that you have. Like, what would you pay to make an extra 10K per month, or make an extra even $5,000 a month, right? That's $60,000 a year. And so even if you're charging 10, 20% of the ultimate value that you add, that's a massive number, right? So if I'm adding 60K to their business and I charge 10%, that's $6,000. If I charge 20%, that's $12,000, right? 20% of the ultimate value that I end up adding for their business, even if it's $5K a month, which is a small number, right? So it's like you really want to anchor the price that you think you have, and I think a lot of the time it's a confidence problem. A lot of people just don't have the confidence in what they do and the results that they can get for their client, which is an entirely separate issue in and of itself. But yeah, I mean, like there are just a plethora of limiting beliefs that a lot of people carry within this strategy, and I think it's very simple. Like the more complicated it is, it just that you're increasing the level of resistance between you and the actual execution if you add all this resistance and this complexity. And we don't want that. We want speed. We want, like, execution speed is one of the most important things. People talk about it all the time. All these high-level people talk about how acting quickly yet efficiently and quick movers and fast decision makers are ultimately the winners, because that's the game that we play. If you don't take action now, someone else will, and they'll capture that available market share or whatever, is what they would say. But yeah, I mean, like the strategy is it's very straightforward. Like I could show you all the fundamentals, and now I'm sort of optimizing for email capture. I think emails are a very great mechanism in which you can sell, and it's sort of, you could argue that it's not own distribution. You could argue that it's own distribution because you still need Gmail or Google or some sort of servicing platform to actually send the emails. But I think as of right now, we see a lot of, you know, these Instagram accounts getting completely annihilated and shut down because, and I've actually, I was talking to some people about this specific situation, this specific issue, because a lot of them are saying guarantee a lot within their ManyChat automations. And so, which is a huge problem because it sort of, I think that flags, Instagram's flagging it as like scam behavior or spam behavior or something. And so they're like canceling these Instagram accounts that constantly use guarantee, the word guarantee in their, maybe they're in their ads or in their, you know, DM appointment setting frameworks and process, and whether we're constantly using these specific keywords that scream scam behavior, which is ironic. But yeah, I mean, that's a high-level overview of the strategy. I mean, it's nothing super special, and it's nothing crazy. Like, we have people closing $50,000 deals, which is like insane. But yeah, I'm glad to have you here. We'll keep going.